Hello, friends. You've taken a semester or two of Biblical Hebrew and you want to keep improving. Or maybe it's been a little while and you're trying to get your Hebrew back. I've got 6 books that will help you improve and level up your Hebrew. I'm JC Schroeder, and this is Bite Size Seminary. The first book that I think is the most helpful is a workbook. You need to be in the biblical text, but you also probably need some help. There are a few workbooks out there, but Chisholm's A Workbook for Intermediate Hebrew is my favorite. It walks you through the text of both Jonah and Ruth. What makes this book stand out is the detailed questions to help you work through a text. But don't worry if you're a self-learner and reading this on your own, because there is an answer key in the back. These parsing and syntax questions, they force you not to skip over forms or parts of the text. It keeps you honest about your knowledge and your reading of the text. In addition to these questions, he also includes grammatical and parsing helps to help you read the text and to remember the forms and the morphology that you're reading. If you've already done Jonah and Ruth, Van Pelt and Pratico's Graded Reader of Biblical Hebrew is also a good book with a wide assortment of texts. The second book you'll probably want is an intermediate grammar. My favorite is Arnold and Choi's A Guide to Biblical Hebrew Syntax. Now, it's in its second edition. It's concise enough to actually use and to read, but it's full enough to give a satisfying explanation for what you're looking for. It's not a full reference grammar, but it is enough for advancing your Hebrew and helping you work through a text. In order to read, you need to improve your vocabulary. And the best way to do that is probably just to read more and more and more. But before you can just read more and more and more, you need sort of a base level of vocabulary to help you with that process. That's where a book on vocabulary is helpful. The one I have used is Mitchel's A Student's Vocabulary for Biblical Hebrew and Aramaic. It sorts all the words used in the Hebrew Bible by occurrences down all the way to words that are used 10 times or more. So you get a whole big chunk of the vocabulary in the Hebrew Bible, along with all the words that are used in the Aramaic sections of the Hebrew Bible. Using a book like this, along with something like Quizlet, can help make the reading experience easier and more enjoyable. Now, what about if you want to read through a particular text and you just need some help as needed? That's where the Baylor Handbook on the Hebrew Bible series comes in. It acts sort of like a grammatical commentary for the text. It deals with morphology, syntax, and discourse analysis. The brilliance of this series is that it helps you when you get stuck and kind of helps alleviate kind of that burden of having to always reach for your reference grammar. Now, this is not just one individual book, it's a whole series. So there are individual volumes for each book of the Hebrew Bible. For working through a book on your own, this is a sigh of relief. Number 5 is a book to keep you consistently in the text. That's Daily Scriptures by Cerone and Fisher. This one is a 1-year devotional. It gives short or bite-sized readings not only in Hebrew, but also in Greek from the Septuagint and the New Testament, but also from the Latin Vulgate. So if you want to stay consistently in the text, but don't want the kind of burden of moving systematically through a book, then this is a real good option. It's easy to kind of pick up and get going. Finally, you'll also want to keep learning about Hebrew. For this, I have Advances in the Study of Biblical Hebrew and Aramaic by Benjamin Noonan. This book has numerous chapters on advances in how Hebrew works, issues such as lexicography, discourse analysis, word order, and a ton more. Obviously, reading the Bible is the priority, and in Hebrew is even much better. But if we can learn more about how the language functions and the debates that are going on around the language and around the text, then we'll be better exegetes of the text, but also better readers of the commentaries and grammars. Let me just say too, the most important thing here is to not go out and buy a ton of books that you don't actually use. The most important thing is to read the Bible, to be changed by it. But I do think that these books, these resources, can help our reading and understanding of Scripture. I'm sure I missed some other good books. Let me know which ones you enjoy in the comments. And if you're interested in more videos on the biblical languages and Scripture, you can check out some of these videos on the screen. Thanks so much for watching.